OffshoreInsiders.com betting preview of the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Baltimore Ravens. The current odds have Baltimore at -7 with a total of 41, according to OffshoreInsiders.com. And here are some betting news and notes from around the internet. For the past 2 weeks, the Ravens' generally top-notch secondary has struggled against two of the league's more dynamic receivers. They gave up 6 receptions for 109 yards and a score to the Atlanta Falcons' Julio Jones 2 weeks ago. And last week allowed Detroit Lions wide receiver Calvin Johnson to pull down 5 passes for 111 yards and 1 touchdown. Cornerbacks Jimmy Smith, Kerry Williams, and Ladarius Webb have been repeatedly beaten by receivers over the past 2 games. And this week it appears that Blaine Stewart and the Jaguars' receiving corps pose less of a threat. Certainly, appearances can be deceiving based on some of the numbers. Now, that source for that report is Bleacher Report. We also are told that the Jaguars head coach Mike Mularkey confirmed that the starters will play through the third quarter of tonight's game. SB Nation is the source of that. Jaguars starting left tackle Eugene Moore will be out once again Thursday, thanks to Big Cat Country for that information. Now, cornerback Derek Cox, linebacker Daryl Smith, guard Will Rackley will also travel but not play. Mularkey said cornerback Rashean Mathis is expected to play after missing the first 2 preseason games. Spent the offseason rehabilitating from knee surgery. And as we did mention, Mularkey says he expects the starters to play at least 3 quarters. Now, that's actually a slight clarification from above, and we're going to trust this more. We'll tell you why in a moment. It's because of the source. For the first 2 games, it has been about 3 quarters, producing 3 touchdowns. And that's 3 quarters combined, and enough momentum to help carry the Jaguars to a 2-0 preseason straight-up record. First objective is to maintain the momentum. Quote, we definitely want to keep this going, defensive tackle Tyson Alahu said. As the Jaguars are 2-0 in the preseason, they prepare to play the Ravens, who are 1-1. Jaguars quarterback Blaine Gabbert led the team to a first possession touchdown drive against New York, then the first team offense to touchdowns on 2 of its first 3 drives against New Orleans. Gabbert has completed 18 of 26 passes for 174 yards and 3 touchdowns in a little more than 3 quarters with no interceptions and a 126.1 passer rating. The team ranks 4th in the NFL after 2 preseason games with 163 yards a game rushing. That despite the absence of holdout running back Maurice Jones-Drew, and obviously MJ Drew is not going to be back in this game. The source for that, the Jacksonville Jaguars' their own website, I should say. Baltimore's vaunted defense will be attempting to bounce back from an unusually poor display in front of the home crowd a week ago, and the Ravens were lit up for 507 total yards and 341 through the air in Friday's 27-12 setback to Detroit. Much of Detroit's damage did come after Baltimore did pull its starter shortly after the first quarter, however. Ravens will be working the regulars for at least the opening half of Thursday's tilt, viewed as the primary dress rehearsal for the regular season. That list still won't include 2011 NFL Defensive Player of the Year Terrell Suggs, who's sidelined until at least November. Our tight end Ed Dixon and Dennis Pita. Speedy receiver Torrey Smith appears to be on track to play for Baltimore, though, after missing last week's bout with a sprained ankle. And the source for that is the Sports Network Wire service, which is where I got my start in this business with their sister company, Dial Sports. Now, the strongest sports handicapper pick on this game is from God's Tips, anchor of OffshoreInsiders.com, as you've got both the side and the total in this game from the top NFL handicapper in the land, God's Tips, and it's all at OffshoreInsiders.com. Get a Wise Guy play on the side, a major play on the total. Wise Guys plays from God's Tips, or simply put, the single strongest play in the handicapping industry. It's all at www.offshore.